Thomas, good to see you. I'm hearing some debate, so I wanted to ask, is it a good idea to max out your 401k? For 2023, the max 401k contribution limits are 22.5 a year. If you're 50 and over, that turns into 30,000. 401ks are generally the most accessible and easiest way to save for retirement. So how important is it to be maxing it out every year?
Yeah, I think depending on where you're at in life, it's really going to be the main question. I'm an advocate of putting enough in the 401k up to the match and then looking elsewhere thereafter, just
Mm.
because of the limitations that are in the actual 401k. You may want to be thinking of other tax shelter vehicles like a Roth IRA outside of the 401k, and then potentially even cash value life insurance. Once you get to the point to where you're maxing out those areas as well, and you may be behind the eight ball, I mean, you might want to consider, putting more money in the 401k. But just because you put more money in the 401k doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to retire confidently. I think that you need to have a financial plan in place.
Of course. Now, you're mentioning this. 401ks have very limited investing options. So, when do you advise branching out and investing in stocks or ETFs?
Well, I think that you obviously want to have a diversified portfolio. If you're too concentrated in stocks, that might not be a good place to go, or in equities, if you will, in your overall portfolio. I am an advocate for using ETFs. They are very efficient, low cost. But it's really going to come down to what is your overall risk tolerance, and then if you are maxing out these other vehicles, are you open to looking at maybe some brokerage account opportunities where you can buy those types of positions in, if that's the case.
hmm One more drawback with that 401k. If you are contributing the max match each year and then you become cash poor, but you need money for a big purchase, tapping the 401k, you're going to face some severe penalties.
Yeah, yeah. So you're going to get, if you're under the age of 59 and a half, obviously you're going to get that 10% tax penalty. And then when you do take a distribution from your 401k, it can potentially put you in a higher tax bracket. A lot of people don't consider that. So I think it's important for you to do an analysis, to think about, if it's going to be the right decision for you and your family, or if it's just you to pull that money out in any event of emergency. There are some issues, there are some qualifying ways that you can pull money out of the 401k without having being at risk for that penalty. But I think you need to talk to your advisor to discuss what those privileges are.
hmm So, what if I'm over 50 though and realizing that I haven't saved enough for retirement?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of Americans are actually in that space, where they're behind the eight ball. And I think the smartest thing that you can do is you don't want to plan, or just throw, I guess, throw everything at the wall, if you will. So I think that you want to sit down with an advisor, and to figure out, where am I going to be in the next 10 to 15 years based on my allocations and where my investments are going. And if it makes sense to put more money in a 401k to take advantage of the tax shelter account, then, definitely have that conversation. But I think the most important thing for you to consider is to create a plan so that you know where you're going to be and if you can retire confidently.
Creating that plan sooner than later, always a good idea. Thomas, if somebody wants to talk that through with you and just find out if they're allocated properly, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, definitely go to my website, martinheritagegroupllc.com. You can shoot me an email, info@martinheritagegroupllc.com. And you can also give me a phone call, 651-503-6064. And then I'm on all social media platforms at Martin Heritage Group.
All right, Thomas, thank you.
Thank you.